Hello there, and welcome to the very first episode of the Purple Local Podcast. My name is Neil, owner of Purple Pod Pals, and thank you very much for downloading and listening. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or download it from our website www.purplepodpals.co.uk. We're a podcast and audio production company based in Macclesfield, and over the course of these podcast episodes I'll be interviewing various local business people. I'll not only be asking them about the businesses, but also finding out a little bit more about them as people. Now, this first episode will feature somebody most Maxonians know and love. He's so popular that it's absolutely impossible to have a lengthy conversation with him in the street because so many people are stopping him and saying hello to him. Now, before we dive into our interview with Tele Anastasi of the Waters Green Fish Bar, let's hear what his customers have to say about him. We asked them how long they've been customers of the fish bar and what they think of the food.
Oh God, I've lived in Macclesfield 12 years, so
It's the first time in a long time.
About 10 years.
it's just local, it's near to town centre, handy.
Well, I do know it's got a good reputation, and I was just actually in the area, so I don't usually eat this often for my dinner anyway, so it's just a bit of a one-off, this visit.
Best chippy in Mac.
Tally has been a fixture on Waters Green for over 30 years. I spoke to him about the origins of Waters Green Fish Bar and his family. He also talks about his customers and what they mean to him.
Hello, my name's Telly, and I run Waters Green Fish Bar, and I've been here now for over 30 years. We came here together. What had happened was my sister had a shop in Stoke-on-Trent, and someone knew they were selling the shop. So my brother, me, and my dad came in, and we came in at the same time. 1984. We bought the shop, I think in the April, May, closed down, gutted the shop, rebuilt and reopened again end of September. Well, it's always been a family business as such, so there was never really a taking over as such. We worked from the beginning then and still work that way. My father since passed away before the shop got a chance to reopen, but we've always run it as a family unit from the time we came in. Well, to be honest with you, we're quite lucky because we know most of our customers, certainly by face if not by name, and if you do a job you might as well enjoy what you're doing, especially when we've done it that long. And I do enjoy what I do. I enjoy the customers coming in, I enjoy speaking to the customers, and hopefully that comes through in the food as well.
Now, as most Maxonians know, Tele suffered a tremendous setback to his business in 2009. One early morning in April 2009, the fish bar was devastated by a fire and was completely destroyed. While not wanting to dwell on the events, Tele very kindly shared with us what he was doing when he heard, and the aftermath of the fire, and how the people of Macclesfield pulled together for him whilst the premises was being rebuilt and renovated.
What was happening at the time, I was working with one member of staff on a Monday night, and we were very, very quiet. That night was, I think it was April the 21st or the 22nd. It was a Monday night, and it was very quiet for the last hour, so the range was stone cold. We finished, went home. I sometimes do some paperwork here, but then it was just on the one level. My office was right above the shop. This night I went home. I was starting doing a little bit of work, watching television, and I fell asleep on the sofa. The first thing I knew was my sister was ringing because the police had tried to ring. The mobile, I think I must have fallen asleep on the mobile. So they were phoning for next of kin, that the shop was on fire. Elena told me that the police had just rang her and the shop was on fire. So immediately I was in my bathrobe. I'd literally put a pair of trousers on, jumped in the car and drove all the way down here, probably as fast as I've ever driven down here, to see 4 fire engines here and shop up in flames, and the area was cordoned off. Well, at the time the fire was still burning then. I can't remember exactly now what time it was. I think it was about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, or maybe a little bit later on. They'd put a zone around it, but because I was that concerned, I'd legged it through the brambles at the back without the police, without the fire brigade knowing, to try and see what was happening at the back of the shop, because they cordoned it off, and I must have ripped my legs and ripped my trousers, but you're that carried away with what was going on that you just went through there. So then the police said, it wasn't safe until, I think in the end, there were 3 or 4 different fire crews were fighting it because they got to do so many shifts, and they were still here well into next lunchtime before they actually secured the premises and left. Luckily, no one lived above the shop, and we're told, as far as we knew, there was nobody either side living of it. But it just the flames just ripped through. You try and deal with what you can, because what's happened has happened, and you presumably you had the insurance for 25 years. Everything is fine. We've always done everything by the book, the regs, everything. We've always had a clean shop. We have our ducting cleaned regularly. So you presume that you've paid that insurance and everything was okay. So the cleaning started and we put everything in place. We spoke to our insurance company, brought up, and that was where we had the massive news that they said we weren't insured. I think this has been covered in the shops, and then it was, first of all, you lose everything, and then it was a shock of you've lost everything, and then it's not covered. I paid that for so many years. So then you look what to do. They turned around and said it was an electrical certificate, which we'd already had a great electrician on board, but because the property was built more than 5 years ago, we didn't think we needed the certificate, which was just a minor thing. And since then, the Fish Fryers Federation, the fish and chip shops of the UK, and people have become aware of that and have got that, because it was a policy which was like on page 14 of the policy, which was like, to us it seemed like a get out clause. We then decided to fight this, realised that we had to start rebuilding the shop, because this could take years in the courts and it's still not quite resolved, but we had to get the shop back open. So with the help of friends, family, relatives and loans, we started to rebuild the shop of our own accord, of our own means. We'd already owned the shop next door before. There's no way we could have afforded to buy it after the fire, because we didn't have any money coming in. So we already owned the shop, and then what we looked at doing is bringing the shop down on one floor, because no guarantee. We didn't know how long it was going to be closed for. We didn't know how long it was going to take to rebuild, and we just tried to get the shop open, and then decide what to do with the upstairs at a later stage. Touch wood, you try and make good out of bad. You try and make a situation that's already happened, and then you look at it and you say, let's try and make it better than what it was before. There's no point in doing something like as it was, When we did the tiles in the shop, I think our the electrician who was working on it has done one of the tiles in the shop with a phoenix coming out of the chip shop. So, and it's great, because we were closed for over a year, and you're worried whether your customers are going to come back. And since we reopened, thank God, touch wood, we've been busy. To be honest, we were so busy we just need some more staff. So if anybody's hard working and can move fast, we certainly need a little bit more staff.
As you heard, Tele was incredibly forthright about what happened. But I wanted to know about what the future held for the Fish Bar, and I also asked him about his tireless charity fundraising.
We'd like to be able to just maintain what we've got and carry on improving. I can't go on forever. So we need to look at the sort of the next generation coming through, be able to run the shop and things like that. But I've been in Macclesfield that long now. It's my home. I've been here longer than I've ever lived anywhere else. So, I certainly consider it my home. And I love the people of Macclesfield as well. Well, what we did, that was just gone in October. We would have celebrated 25 years just before the fire, just after the fire. But with the fire, that was on hold, and we celebrated 30 years. And as we've always done since we've been here, because we support the local charity, and one that does so much for Macclesfield people, is East Cheshire Hospice. It's something when you've got it in need. So what we did, we had a fun day. The weather was great. We had a double-decker bus. We had the fire brigade came. We had Chris the Reptile Man. We had cakes. We had drinks. We had raffle, and we funded the whole day. And all the money we raised went to East Cheshire Hospice, and it was over £1,300 that we raised.
Those of you who know him know that Tele works incredibly hard every day at the Fish Bar, and he doesn't get a lot of free time. I asked him what he likes to do and whatever downtime he manages to get.
Well, for those people who know about football, because there's no point in talking to people who are not, I'm a big Spurs fan. But like I say, for people who know about football, they know that. So I do follow Spurs, but we're not having a great deal of free time. You don't get much opportunity, so you've got to chop and change, really. So, but yeah, we've got some fantastic countryside around here. So we do love Macclesfield Forest and all around here, and weather permitting, we try and get up there as much as possible.
Finally, I asked Tele to give us a funny story or experience that he's had during his time at the Fish Bar, and he's very kindly turned that over to you, the listener.
Well, to be honest with you, there's that many you try and remember. Most people ask, who are the famous people that have been in the shop? So over the years, you're looking from your footballers to your presenters. We're in an area here from Eric Cantona to Steve McLaren used to come in every Monday. So we get a variety of things, but there's so many other things. It's probably, to be honest with you, it might be a good idea. The customers might be able to maybe phone in with their ideas and podcasts of some of the stories coming over, you know.
It was a pleasure to catch up with Tele and get to know him a little better, as he's one of those characters around Macclesfield who always brings a smile to your face. One of the unique qualities of this podcast is that I'll always ask the person I'm interviewing who I should interview next. Tele has very kindly given me a few names to throw into the mix, so hopefully you'll be hearing from at least one of those on the next podcast. Now, if you have any questions, suggestions or feedback about this podcast, you can either email me at purplepodpals@gmail.com or you can find me on social media. You can tweet me at purplepodpals or you can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/purplepodpals. Once again, thanks very much for listening and we'll see you on the next podcast. Bye for now.